Time continued. The mind itself gets involved in this world appearance by entertaining countless notions, like I am weak, unhappy, foolish, etc. When the understanding arises that all this is but the false creation of the mind, I am what I am, then the peace of the Supreme arises in one's consciousness. The mind is like the vast ocean with infinite variety of creatures within it, on the surface of which ripples and waves of different sizes rise and fall. It's an ocean of notions. The small wave thinks it is small, and the big one that it is big. The one that is broken by the wind thinks it has been destroyed. One thinks it is cold, another that it is warm, but all the waves are but the water of the ocean. It is indeed true to say that there are no waves in the ocean alone exists. Yet it is also true that there are waves. Even so, the absolute Brahman alone exists. Since it is omnipotent, the natural expression of its infinite faculties appears as the infinite diversity in this universe. Diversity has no real existence except in one's own imagination. All this is indeed the absolute Brahman. Remain established in this truth. Give up all other notions. Even as the waves, etc., are non-different from the ocean, all these things are non-different from Brahman. Even as in the seed is hidden the entire tree and potential, in Brahman there exists the entire universe forever. Even as the multicoloured rainbow is produced by sunlight, all this diversity is seen in the one. Even as the inert web emanates from the living spider, this inert world appearance has sprung from the infinite consciousness. Well, and it hasn't really, of course, it's only notions of an inert world appearance that have arisen. Even as the silkworm weaves its cocoon and thus binds itself, the infinite being fancies this universe and gets caught in it. Even as an elephant effortlessly breaks loose from the post to which it is tied, the self liberates itself from its bondage. For the self is what it considers itself to be. In fact, there is neither bondage nor liberation for the Lord. I do not know how these notions of bondage and liberation have come into being. There is neither bondage nor liberation. Only that infinite being is seen. Yet the eternal is veiled by the transient, and this is indeed a great wonder, or a great illusion. The moment this mind manifested in the infinite consciousness, there also arose the notions of diversity, and these notions exist in the infinite consciousness. On account of this, there appear to exist in this universe the various deities and the innumerable species of creations, some long-lived, some short-lived, some big and some small, some happy and some unhappy. All these living entities are but notions in the infinite consciousness. Some consider themselves ignorant and bound. Others are free from ignorance and liberated. Time continued. O sage, gods, demons and human beings are none different from this cosmic ocean of consciousness known as Brahman. This is the truth. All other assertions are false. They, the gods, etc., entertain false notions like, I am not the Absolute, and thus superimpose upon themselves impurity and the feeling of downfall. Even they dwell forever in this cosmic ocean of consciousness, the cosmic ocean of notions. Yet, considering themselves separated from Brahman, they are deluded. Though they are forever pure, they superimpose impurity on themselves, and this is the seed of all their actions and their consequences, namely happiness, unhappiness, ignorance, and enlightenment. Of these beings, some are pure like Shiva and Vishnu, some are slightly tainted like men and gods, some are in dense delusion like trees and shrubs, some are blinded by ignorance like worms, some wander far, far from wisdom, and some have reached the state of enlightenment and liberation, like Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Though revolving thus in the wheel of ignorance and delusion, when one steps onto the wisdom concerning the supreme truth, he is instantly redeemed. You've made it. Of these, neither they who are like the trees firmly rooted in delusion, nor they who have utterly destroyed their delusion, need engage themselves in the inquiry into the scriptures. The scriptures themselves have been produced by enlightened beings for the guidance of those who have been awakened from the slumber of ignorance after their evil nature and its expressions have ceased to be, and whose intellect naturally seeks that scriptural guidance. In other words, you've got to have woken up. The light has got to have been switched on at some point before you're going to find any of this of any relevance or interest. O sage, it is only the mind that experiences pleasures and pain in this world, not the physical body of beings. In fact, the physical body is nothing but the fruit of the fancy of the mind. It's a notion, in other words. The physical body is not an existential fact independent of the mind. Whatever your son willed in his own mind, that he experiences. We are not responsible for this. All beings here in this world obtain only those actions which spring from the storehouse of their own potentialities and predispositions. No one else is responsible for those actions, no superhuman being or God. Come, let us go to where your son is engaged in penance, after momentarily enjoying the pleasures of the heaven. Saying thus, Yama, time, caught hold of Bhrigu and led him away. While the sage Vasistha said this, the 8th day came to a close and the assembly dispersed.